Hello, hello, thanks for stopping by the channel. This is 3D WorldRunner for the NES, and I'm playing this game off of a cartridge on a retro USB AVS. 3D WorldRunner was developed by Squaresoft and published by Acclaim back in 1987. Basically, you're some guy running across planets, and according to the cartridge cover, you can shoot missiles out of your armpits. Seriously, check out this cartridge art. Armpit shots is what I see. This is also one of those games that has a different title when you boot the game. The load screen actually says The 3D Battles of WorldRunner, but the cartridge says 3D WorldRunner. It's always interesting to me to see these types of differences. I don't know if this means somebody wasn't paying attention in the office, or if somebody just didn't care. This is one of those games that I actually played a lot when I was a kid. This was part of my normal rotation, but I'm not sure if we ever actually owned the game, or if maybe it was a rental. I suppose we could have borrowed it from somebody. I know we did trade with friends occasionally. In general, NES games were not cheap when I was a kid, and my brothers and I, we tended to only buy a few every year. I do remember this one though, we played it a lot. Initially, this one reminds me of Space Harrier from Sega. Granted, that was a much faster game and much more detailed, but they do offer sort of the same basic formula. You're running straight towards the horizon, and of course you get these weird flying dragons from time to time. Kind of what you'd expect to see from Space Harrier. One interesting thing with this game, I think, is that you can set it to 3D. You press the select button on the fly and it changes the game to 3D mode. And if you had a pair of 3D glasses, which, I don't know, maybe some people have them, it becomes a 3D game. The fact that they included this with the game, it actually kind of makes me wonder why there wasn't a whole wave of NES games to do this. I don't know, it seems like it was a bandwagon that everybody could have jumped on, but they didn't. Now, 3D is a novelty, and it's not something that I really cared for, but hey, it is there, and it's up to you if you like it, so enjoy it. Overall, for the NES, my feeling with this game is that it kind of feels unique to the library. I'm guessing it's the perspective that makes me feel this way, but it just doesn't feel like other games. It seems like they were trying to do something different, and generally, I think it paid off. There are tons of side-scrolling games out there on the console. You got puzzle games, platformers, but not a lot of games from this type of perspective, so I appreciate that. It does feel like this is one of those games that you kind of have to get used to, and in a lot of cases, I think if you start to play this game, you kind of learn how to play it by feeling. You hopefully can get into a groove on this one, but it's not necessarily easy to control. Just picking it up and trying to get through a stage, it just wasn't a fast learning experience. You're going to have to figure out the game's timing. You're going to be running on alien planets, and your job is basically to jump, dodge, and survive the stage. You get 8 stages in total, and it's an increasing difficulty like you'd expect, and there are tons of bonus stages along the way. You get a meter at the bottom of the screen, and it decreases the further you get into the level. When you get to the end of that meter, the stage is over, and good job. The A button is your jump button, and the B button is going to fire your laser missiles. That is, if you have laser missiles. You need to find an icon in order to get this, and I think this is one of my dislikes with the game. You don't get to fire the entire game. You have to get the icon. It's kind of a letdown. You press up on the gamepad to speed up, and you press down to slow down. And you're going to need speed to make a lot of these jumps, but you're going to probably want to slow down to pick up a bunch of the items. So you're going to have to scoop power-ups, things that make you jump higher. Stars are going to give you points, and you can grab balloons to take you to bonus levels. I think one of the first things that I actually forgot about this game when I started playing it again were these pillars. It's been 20 years since I played this game, so my inclination is to dodge everything. Well, you kinda need to not do that, especially early in the levels. You should be aiming and bumping into these pillars. It turns out they drop stuff, like the laser missiles you want. I gotta say, running into these pillars, this is not an intuitive mechanic. And I would not have known to do that if I didn't read an FAQ online. I have the manual. I read the manual too. The manual is not clear that you should run into these. It just says that you can jump on top of them. So, really strange. I would have expected they would have been much more clear. But here we are. So this game is you running, jumping, maybe shooting. Handling, it's reasonable, and when you jump, when you're in the air, you can speed up or slow down and change direction, so although that's not physically reasonable, it's nice to have. It definitely helps. I do feel that the music is maybe a little too cutesy for the game. It makes it feel like this one is targeting a younger audience, and it's also kind of monotonous over time. It's not a very long loop, and it's not very engaging. For me, this is one of those you should turn on the stereo type of games. I also think that if they changed the way that the music sounds, they probably could have given a completely different feeling to this game. Could have made it more serious, but, well, here we are. One neat thing with this, though, when you pause the game, your avatar sits down and waits for you. I don't know, I kind of think that's a clever little addition. When you die, which is going to happen a lot, if you press A and the start button, you can pick up at the same level you just died. I found this tip in the manual, and I have to say, I find it strange that they would put that in there. Why not just program a restart into the game itself? People lose manuals. If you didn't read this, you'd never know it existed. Why do that? Very strange to me. Overall, this isn't a bad NES game. It's interesting, it's different, it's kinda unique. I like it. Well, that's all I have today for 3D WorldRunner for the NES. If this is your type of thing, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel, and hope to catch you on another video.